What is up, guys? Nintendo here once again, and it is time for a video that is completely off the cuff. There will be no game footage in this video. I thought about doing that. This has been on my list of things to do for a while, and I was like, I don't want to get game footage for all these games. It's too much. It's too much. There's not a ton of games on this list, but I wanted to talk about games that I beat last year in 2022. I'm not going to be talking about games that I've already beaten before in the past. We're just talking about games that I beat for the first time last year, because otherwise this list would be too long. Now, I haven't beat a ton of games or anything like that, but there are 11 games that I beat last year that I had never beaten before and that I had a really damn good time with, at least most of them. So, without further ado, let's get to the first game, but please like, comment, subscribe, that would be amazing. I feel like there's a cat hair in my nose, or maybe it's just one of my outrageous mustache hairs going into my nose. I decided to grow my beard out, and I already fucking hate it. So, alright, let's get straight to it. The first game that I beat last year was Ghost of Tsushima, and man, this is one of the best games that I beat last year. This is such a phenomenal game, and I know a lot of people agree with this. I cannot wait for a sequel to this. I've heard rumors that there's supposed to be a sequel, but if you don't know what Ghost of Tsushima is, it is an action-adventure game that takes place in, samurai-era Japan. I don't know exactly what era. But you control this dude that is freaking amazing. This dude, I can't even remember his name right now. Jin Sakai. That's right. And it's just an amazing game. Combat is so fun. You switch between 3 different styles of combat depending on what kind of enemy you're fighting. Almost like a paper, rock, scissors kind of thing. And the controls are really good. The game is gorgeous. It's absolutely one of the prettiest games I've ever played. Such mood, such amazingness. I love, like, the sakura flowers flying everywhere, and the fact that you follow the wind, and there's all kinds of cool sections, like grappling sections, and riding your horse all around this crazy world. An amazing story, and all kinds of characters that are very well developed and very mature. This is a dark game, but man, Ghost of Tsushima is one game that I can say I want to play again, because it is just so unbelievably majestic and grand in scope. And it's an amazing game. I don't know what else to say. If you haven't played Ghost of Tsushima, please do yourself a favor, play it. It's very close to an RPG, but it's not quite an RPG, more like an adventure game. But yeah, so good. So good. Okay, moving on to the second game that I beat last year. This was a fantastic one, and we are talking about Ys, Memories of Celceta. Hopefully this shiny embossed cover won't blind you. But this is a game that I knew I would enjoy. I'm a huge fan of the Ys franchise, and yeah, this has everything going for it that a modern Ys game has going for it, except for, it's not graphically as outstanding. I believe this came out on the Vita first, so this is not like a new game or anything like that. But yeah, Timeless Adventure Edition. It comes with like a few extra peripherals, including a soundtrack, but that's not why I bought this. I bought this because I love action RPGs now. I used to be strictly just a turn-based RPG guy, and now I absolutely love action RPGs, especially the Ys series. It's amazing. Ys 8 is one of my favorite games of all time. Ys 9 was amazing. Yeah, I've beat a bunch of them and played a bunch of them, and this one was really fun to beat. It's great. You can still switch between characters on this one. The graphics are great. The music's excellent, as always. Ys music is great. But yeah, action-adventure, fast action, really well thought out like enemies, and really well thought out like action. The controls are very intuitive, and it's just a good time. It's really a fun time. Like I said, the music is super good. If you take anything away from Ys games, it's going to be that the music is amazing. But anyways, let's move on. Okay, the third game that I beat this year is an amazing import. I got this from PlayAsia, and it's something I cannot recommend enough. You can play it in English. This is an English copy. It has several languages, I believe, but yeah, this came from PlayAsia. Metroidvania, very much a love letter to Symphony of the Night. We've got Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth, Record of Lodoss War, and yeah, this is an amazing side-scrolling RPG, very much like Symphony of the Night or any of the Castlevanias on like DS, but yeah, Deedlit, Wonder Labyrinth, oh my god, amazing. Kind of a short game, but it's got a really cool magic system where you have 2 different types of magic and you can switch between them, and if you increase them, it'll make you gain life, and you can use them to go through certain barriers. It's crazy. You can float with them, and actually you get the ability to float really early on, and you're like, isn't that going to break the game? Aren't you going to be able to just do whatever you want? No, not at all. And actually, I really like the arrow firing segments in this. There's lots of puzzles where you have to fire arrows and, like, break a bag and, open a way or something like that. There will be, like, a sandbag, like, tied on a rope, and you have to, like, shoot an arrow and have it bounce off multiple walls and then go through the freaking rope. It's amazing. It's really fun. Again, kind of a short game, but if you like Metroidvanias, if you like side-scrolling RPGs, then you're probably going to like this, and I'm pretty sure it's available on, like, the eShop and probably other places as well. For record of Lodoss War, Deedlit, in Wonder Labyrinth. What a name. What a game. Oh, great music, too. Really, really a fun game, so check this one out. Okay, as for the fourth game that I beat last year, this is a classic. This is one of those games that people will say is like the best RPG ever made. And I am, of course, talking about Mr. Chrono Trigger, or Mrs. Chrono Trigger, not really sure which, but Chrono Trigger, this is a great game. This really is a great game. I've owned this for years. I have played this many, many times. I've owned this since, man, the early 2000s, this copy, which is funny. I actually traded a Valkyrie Profile complete in box for this copy. They were worth about the same amount back then, which is really funny. But Chrono Trigger, you all know what it is. It's a really cool RPG. Old school. I mean, it's so fun. There's all kinds of time travel stuff. The last boss is just cool because you, like, know about him the entire time, and just the whole time travel element is really freaking cool. The characters and character development is really amazing as well. The music, absolutely killer. Would I call this a 10 out of 10 game? No, there was definitely some problems with it. I know that's an unpopular opinion, and maybe I will talk about the problems that I see with Chrono Trigger sometime in the future. I'm not going to get into it now, but Chrono Trigger, overall, I had a very, very good time with. There were a couple times when spells were really an issue. I'm starting to talk about it, but anyways, I did have a good time with this. I just want to say that I don't think this is the game that some people think it is. If you've never played Chrono Trigger and you're just hearing nothing but praise for it, this game still has flaws. Every game has flaws. I can't think of a perfect game, although there are some that are close and some that are definite contenders for being near perfect. Symphony of the Night, in my opinion, is one of the most perfect games ever. But Chrono Trigger, it's up there. It's a really great game, really great RPG. There's a reason it gets so much love. Don't get your expectations, like, through the roof with this game. Or anything. Yeah. Okay, on to the fifth game, and pretty fun game. Pretty fun game, pretty hard. We've got Final Fantasy Adventure on the Game Boy. This was a great gameplay. This is fun. So if you don't know, this is actually the original first Mana game. They just called it Final Fantasy Adventure, probably to get fans here aware of it, and we already knew the Final Fantasy name, so they're like, hey, let's make this a Final Fantasy game. But really, this is a, Seiken Densetsu game? Is this the original Seiken Densetsu? I believe so, but this is the first game, Mana game, so it plays very similarly. It's kind of top view, and you've got a weapon gauge where it actually fills up, and then when you attack, it's a full attack. If you don't wait for it to fill up all the way, your attack's going to be lessened. But yeah, it's fun. There's a lot of walking back and forth. The map is pretty big. It's actually not huge, but the way they lay it out makes it feel bigger than it really is, and you can get lost. I got lost several times in this game. I've played this game several times and never beaten it before because I had gotten frustrated a couple times. And this time I powered through it, had a lot of fun. The music's really good, kind of somber. But yeah, fun action RPG that, I mean, it's a classic. It really is a classic, but, it's stripped down, it's old, it's a Game Boy game, but yeah, it's a fun one. If you've never played Final Fantasy Adventure before, yeah, I suggest it. It's a good time. It's a good time with its somber, melancholy feel and weirdly soothing music and cool characters, neat spells, all kinds of cool stuff in this game. I really like it. I'm going to stop talking about Final Fantasy Adventure now. Okay, moving on to the sixth game. I love Shin Megami Tensei games. I really, really do, but I have not beaten many of them at all, and I beat Digital Devil Saga. And this game is freaking amazing. I cannot sing high enough praises for this game Absolutely one of the best. Turn-based RPG, but it's a Shin Megami Tensei game. You kind of expect there to be demon recruiting, but there's not. There's actually no demon recruiting. It's just a traditional turn-based RPG with a really, really dark story, really dark characters, and a very, very almost menacing feel to it. But the music is goddamn amazing. This music in this game is just to die for. But yeah, because it's just regular turn-based RPG combat, it kind of threw me off. I was totally expecting demon recruiting when I first played this years ago, and it wasn't there, and I was like, wow, this is just straight up a dark RPG that, you know, looks and feels like a Shin Megami Tensei game, but just plays like a regular-ass RPG, except for you can definitely take turns away from enemies, and enemies can kind of take turns away from you. There's an order in combat, which is pretty cool, but you have to definitely align your elemental shit properly. So if there's a fire enemy, you want to hit him with ice. You know, if there's ice enemy, you want to hit him with fire, that kind of thing. If you hit an enemy and he's strong against it, it might take a turn away from you, or will take a turn away from you. But yeah, Digital Devil Saga, again, I love this game. Cannot recommend it enough. So good. One of my favorite games for the PlayStation 2, and definitely one of my favorite Shin Megami Tensei games. Buy it, play it. It's actually not that expensive. There's another part to it, which I'm going to get to soon. Breath of Fire, the next game that I beat. Man. Do I love Breath of Fire? Yes, I do. I love this back with, like, comic book style description and the wolf just yelling. Fucking great. You only get one screenshot of you, like, flying. It's like, it really doesn't tell you what kind of game this is going to be, but of course, as a teenager, I knew what kind of game this was. Traditional, turn-based RPG. Very slow. Very, very slow. I love so much about Breath of Fire. The atmosphere, the music, the characters. The translation's really bad, though. And this game is just slow, and it's grindy, and it is hard towards the end. I honestly was kind of sick of this game by the time the end came around, but I wanted to see it through. I wanted to play and beat all the Breath of Fires. I've never beaten all of them. I've played 1 through 3, but I've never beaten them before. So I decided to go through and beat this one, and man, towards the end I was like questioning if I could keep going on. It was so grindy, and so many times I had to walk back and forth, and walk back and forth, and walk back and forth. And again, it's kind of a slow game, so walking back and forth somewhere takes a bit of time and a lot of patience. However, I do love Breath of Fire. It's a great start to the series. It's nothing to scream about, and definitely play it only if you have patience for very old school RPGs. But yeah, fun time. Alright, the 8th game that I beat last year was kind of a weird one. I'm not exactly known for playing and beating platformers, like, at all. Like, sure, I love the Mario games, and I've beaten quite a few of them, but, you know, I don't do that much these days, especially on stream. My streams tend to be adventure games, and RPGs, and Metroidvanias, and yeah, but I got a wild hair up my ass to beat Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout on NES. This is a game that I've loved since I was a kid. There's nothing horribly special about it, but I do love the music, even though it's repetitive as shit. But god, the music, the atmosphere, and the way that this game plays is great. Hit detection kinda sucks. But yeah, it's just a really fun time. I mean, you go around hitting things with a hammer. I don't know why Bugs Bunny has a hammer, but he does. And you go platforming all over the place. The levels are very creative. Again, the music's fun, and it's not really a very hard game. It doesn't take very long. And yeah, worthy, definitely. I don't usually play a ton of platformers, but this is one I just wanted to beat. Also, I tried to beat Tiny Toons Adventures. That game is freaking impossible. I don't know what it is. I cannot platform correctly on that game to save my life. However, I can on this game, so I don't know. But yeah, check out Bugs Bunny's Birthday Blowout if you're looking for a good, short platforming time with zany characters and a story that makes no fucking sense at all. But yeah, fun. Okay, game number 9 that I beat last year. An amazing, amazing fun game. However, I do not have it physically, so I'll put a picture of it right here. But yeah, we're talking about Shadowrun Returns, and I do actually have a physical copy of this game coming. It is the only thing left that I have ordered from Limited Run that has not shown up. It hasn't been a horribly long time, but yeah, they're just taking too long with orders lately, and I just don't want to really order from them much unless it's something that I absolutely can't live without, like Shadowrun Returns. But, yeah, Shadowrun Returns is a tactical RPG that is cyberpunk, and I am a huge Shadowrun fan. I absolutely love the world. I love the gritty, cyberpunk future where there's giant corporations, mega corporations that have taken over, and you are a Shadowrunner, somebody that goes and freaking goes through alleys and does missions with other people, like robbing freaking crazy corporations or helping people deliver goods or doing all kinds of crazy chores, basically. But it's so much fun, and of course you blast enemies, and yeah, it's a really good time. You know, I love isometric view, and that's one thing that this game is just gorgeous. I love the look and the feel of this game. The fucking music is fantastic. Everything about Shadowrun Returns is fun. If you like the way that sounds, you should play it. It's so much fun. I cannot get over it. And there's 2 more Shadowrun Returns parts that I need to play. There's the like Hong Kong one, and then there's the Dragon one, Dragonfall or something like that. So plenty of content. They're not long games, but very fun tactical combat with guns, and there's craziness all around, and it's just fun and dark and intricate and really cool to look at. Alright, only 2 more games left that I beat last year, and this one was definitely one of my favorites. Absolutely one of my favorites, and I can't stop thinking about this game, to be honest, and I can't stop listening to the soundtrack. There's a couple songs that I just can't get out of my head. They're so good. NieR Replicant, holy crap, man. Even when I was streaming this on Twitch, even the people watching were just like, this game is incredible. It is beautiful. It's got such a mood. And it's the music is so good. I can't even explain how good this music is. It's something I've never really heard before, but NieR Replicant, it's an action RPG, fast-paced, lots of fun. You are basically a guy who's got to save his sister, but this was already done as just regular NieR, and instead of being the brother, you're actually her father, so that's kind of strange, but I think this is like the original story. I'm not really freaking sure. I only played a tiny bit of the original NieR, but yeah, in this one you play as the brother of the sisters, and the story gets weird as hell, it gets dark as shit, enemies are crazy, and the cool thing is this game has a lot of switching between modes. Like, you'll be, most of it is 3D action, and then sometimes it'll go to side-scrolling view, and then sometimes you'll have an overhead view thing, and it'll be almost like a run and gun, but top view. It's crazy. It's a nuts game. The atmosphere is crazy. Really majestic, beautiful, beautiful music. If anything, just go check out the soundtrack for this game. Totally worth it. Okay, the last game that I beat in 2022, that was something that I hadn't already beaten before, is a doozy. This is something that I've been meaning to talk to you guys about for a while. This is an old school, beloved RPG that I've loved since I was a teenager. I used to watch my brother-in-law play the 7th Saga for hours, and for some reason I was perfectly content with just watching him play it. I had already played tons of RPGs by this point, and I was just content to watch him play it. And then later on, yeah, of course I did play it, and I've played it over and over and over and over and over again, and you always get to this point where you're just kinda stuck. If you didn't choose the right character, because you can choose one of 7 different characters in this game. If you choose the wrong character and you end up going up against a certain enemy, I'm not going to spoil anything, it's incredibly hard to get around, and it seems like a bottleneck, and it seems like something that you just can't get past. And that's how I felt on this game. This game is incredibly grindy, but there's also like a break in it. The Japanese version to this version are different because like the experience system on this is messed up, and so the stronger you get, like enemies get exponentially stronger or something like that. You can read all about it, but the 7th Saga is a fucking slog. This is a tough game. This is a really tough game, and it's not incredibly long, but you're gonna die a lot, and you're gonna have to grind a hell of a lot. I mean, just getting from one town to the next town, generally you can't just walk there and be like, yeah, here I am. Like, no, you literally have to grind for a couple levels and then maybe try to walk there. Some of the distances in this game are vast. You are walking for a long time, and enemies are not static. They actually move, and you have like a crystal ball in the corner, and you can see little dots where the enemies are. You can see them coming, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can try to outrun them, you can try to outmaneuver them if you don't want to get in battle. Certainly it's possible, but a lot of times you get swarmed, and it's just crazy to see the enemies coming at you, and there's nothing you can do. There's really nothing you can do, but this game, towards the end, is just difficult. Really, really difficult. Does go kind of all over the map, and the story at the end is ludicrous. It's like all that grinding, all that game playing, all of that hassle to get an ending that is just like, okay, like, that's it? Alright, cool. So, I mean, it's like, it's one of the worst endings in video game, to be honest. But the thing is I love this game. Musically, phenomenal. Graphically impressive, and in battle it's really cool. It reminds me of like Phantasy Star 2. You can see your characters from the back, and the enemies are in front of you, and the enemies all have animation, moving animation. You move, you can actually see them swing their swords, and yeah, it really reminds me of something like Phantasy Star 2 or any of those fantasies like 2, 3, 4. But yeah, 7 Saga, really cool. Choose your character, hope you chose correctly, and get through this game. I mean, maybe in like 30, 40 hours, something like that, but man, it's going to take its toll. Just like Breath of Fire did. It's just an old school RPG. It's hard, it's grindy, and not very rewarding at the end, but man, just play it for the first few hours at least, just to get a feel for the music and the atmosphere. It's actually pretty cool, and again, the graphics are kind of a sight to behold for the era. That is it. That's all I have for you guys. That was 11 games that I beat last year, and I had a lot of fun with most of these. They were really, really good. Ghost of Tsushima really stuck out to me as one of the best ones. Record of Lodoss War is really, really fun if you like Metroidvanias, but yeah, there's some games like Breath of Fire and 7 Saga that I'm like, stay away from. They might be too old school for you. Even Final Fantasy Adventure, it is a slog, and it will test your patience for sure. But I'm glad I got through some of these games, especially something like Breath of Fire, because now I can move on to Breath of Fire 2, which I already know is a huge improvement over the first one. And then I'm excited to try to beat Breath of Fire 3 and 4. Really hoping for a Ghost of Tsushima sequel of some kind, but yeah, what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. What games did you beat last year? Which were your favorite games that you beat last year? And be sure to subscribe, be sure to like, that would be awesome. It's the best way you can support the channel. Thank you guys very much for watching. You guys rule. Much love, and keep rocking the retro games. Anyways, my point is, I beat a handful of games and streamed, and have done that many times with those games, so it didn't make any sense. And why am I out of breath? Why do I never get out of breath until I do a fucking YouTube video? It's fucking constant.